In a world where appearances dictate destiny, Cora was a woman who defied expectations. Beautiful, bold, and unshakable, she had spent her life turning heads, but when she fell in love with Sam, a humble dwarf, the world didn't just stare. It laughed. Mocked for loving a man half her size, Cora faced a choice: bow to society's cruelty or follow her heart. She chose love, marrying Sam in secret and leaving her old life behind. But 3 years later, she would uncover a truth so staggering it would silence every sneer, every joke, every doubter forever. Because Sam wasn't just a dwarf. He was a king in hiding. And Cora? She was about to become his queen. Let us know where you're watching from and what time you found this video. Cora was the type of woman who had always been able to demand attention. She was tall and dazzling, with a waterfall of auburn hair and green eyes that appeared to carry a whole universe of confidence. When she entered a room, people of both genders turned their heads to look at her, but Sam was the only one who had ever seen her in a manner that was genuinely authentic. Sam was not like other people. Cora was drawn to him like a moth to a flame by his keen wit and soft humor. He was a dwarf, standing just over 4 feet tall, and he conducted himself with a calm dignity. It was in the most mundane of settings that they came face to face, a dimly lit corner of a small bookshop, where Sam was perched on a ladder, searching for a rare first edition of the Count of Monte Cristo. Cora, who was both amused and curious, had taken it down from the shelf and given it to him. Through the contact of their fingertips, an understanding and a spark were sent between them without any words being spoken. It was a state of disbelief for Sam. If someone like her were to glance at me even once, I would be surprised. However, Cora was able to see over his height. The way his eyes lighted up when he talked about history, the way his hands worked with precision when he mended broken objects, and the quiet power in his voice when he spoke up for what he believed in were all things that she saw. In 1 month, they ran away together. The atmosphere in the room became chilly as soon as Cora introduced Sam to her family and friends. Her mother's grin became ice cold. The expression on her father's face became more serious. The people she considered to be her friends looked at each other with smirks playing on their lips. "You're joking, right?" Leela, her closest friend, had cracked a chuckle. "This has to be a prank." "Cora, don't forget to think about your future," her father had snarled at her. "What are people going to say? How do you plan to explain this to your parents and children?" The right to remark was felt by even complete strangers. "Is he rich or something? Did you lose a bet?" However, Cora was not the kind of person to bend. Through a private ceremony, she wed Sam, severing all connections with those individuals who had refused to acknowledge their love for one another. Over the course of 3 years, they constructed a life together that was joyful, tranquil, and intensely in love. Suddenly, everything was different. All of it began with little things. Sam would be missing for a considerable amount of time, and when he would come back, he would have dirt on his boots and a peculiar metallic odor sticking to his fabric. He was sent letters that had strange seals that seemed to be from the past, and he promptly destroyed them. Over the course of the night, Cora would sometimes overhear him talking in a language that she was not familiar with, words that caused the atmosphere to buzz with energetic energy. While she was cleaning Sam's old wooden chest one evening, she discovered a secret chamber that was buried underneath. Inside was a pendant, which was a beautifully crafted silver insignia depicting a mountain that was topped with stars. A parchment, the margins of which were fragile with age, was found underneath it. "By the blood of Durin, the heir shall return when the moon aligns with the silver peak." Her hands shook with fear. "Are you sure?" Something from ancient myths and stories, dwarven monarchs of myth, sprang to me when I heard the name. The next evening, she approached him. Sam let out a sigh, and his shoulders sagged as if he had been anticipating this moment for quite some time. He then spoke to her in a voice that was more profound and majestic than anything she had ever heard before. "My name is Samdurin, and I am the final heir to the Lost Mountain Kingdom. Also, Korra, I am not only a short person, I am a king who is now living in exile." Samdurin illustrated everything in detail. In the past, his family had reigned over a dwarven nation that was concealed deep under the ground. This kingdom was filled with unimaginable wealth and ancient power. Nevertheless, he had to disguise himself as a regular guy in order to live after being coerced into entering the human realm by a coup. He had put up with everything, the ridicule, the glances, and the cruelty in order to conceal himself. However, the moment had finally arrived. All of his adversaries had been vanquished. The throne was waiting for them. "And you, Korra," he added, holding her hands in his, "are my queen." Once the news spread, the same individuals who had previously scoffed at Korra for marrying a lowly dwarf suddenly gaped in amazement at the news. There was a tsunami of headlines in the media. "Local woman married to secret dwarf king now rules a hidden kingdom." They came stumbling back, mumbling their apologies, suddenly enthralled by the unique culture of dwarfs. Her parents and her friends were among those who came back. All that Korra did was grin. "You had your chance," she replied in a straightforward manner. After that, she went away with her king by her side, not as the lady who had been pitied, but rather as the queen who had triumphed on the battlefield. It was then that the gates of the Lost Mountain Kingdom closed behind them, and the world above would never again laugh at her. Korra's voyage to the Lost Mountain Kingdom was very different from what she had envisioned it would be. Sam, or more accurately, King Samdurin, guided her through twisting passageways illuminated by blazing blue moss, past bridges of old stone that spanned deep chasms, and ultimately to the gates of Silver Peak. Sam pushed his hand against the doors, which were engraved with glyphs that, when brushed against, pulsed slightly. The doors towered over them. It seemed as if the mountain itself was waking up with a loud and resonant moan. The gates shattered open, exposing a metropolis that was unlike anything else in the world. The summits of the dwarf spires sparkled with jewels that were embedded in them and resembled stars. These spires seemed to reach into the abyssal heights. Fires that were charmed raged in the forges which were used to produce both weapons and jewels. In addition, the population, who consisted of hundreds of dwarfs with wide-eyed expressions of astonishment, knelt down on one knee as Sam and Korra went by. "All hail the return of the true king." A big dwarf with a beard that was braided rumbled loudly. "And his queen." The beat of Korra's heart was rapid. She had anticipated things to be grandiose, but this? Such a civilization existed here. The reappearance of Sam was met with disapproval from other people. In spite of the fact that the royal chamber was a masterpiece made of black marble and gold, the atmosphere was high with anxiety. Even though Lord Thrain, the usurper, had been removed from power, his supporters continued to remain hidden in the shadows. As the gathering gathered, a dwarf with a sneering expression said, "A human queen? What does she know of our ways?" The reappearance of Sam was met with disapproval from other people. In spite of the fact that the royal chamber was a masterpiece made of black marble and gold, the atmosphere was high with anxiety. Even though Lord Thrain, the usurper, had been removed from power, his supporters continued to remain hidden in the shadows. As the gathering gathered, a dwarf with a sneering expression said, "A human queen? What does she know of our ways?" Sam's hold on Korra's hand became more powerful. "She is a loyal person," he stated with a voice as strong as steel. "Which is more than I can say for those who bowed to Thrain." The mutterings vanished. Korra could be seen staring at her image in a mirror made of polished obsidian that was located in their quarters that night. Her flaming hair was braided with rubies, and she wore a magnificent robe made of woven mithril. On the table next to her was a crown fit for a queen, ready for her to be crowned. In a low voice, she said, "They don't trust me." Her knuckles were kissed by Sam. "Then give them a reason to. As part of dwarven custom, foreigner queens were required to undergo a test known as the Trial of Stone. The Labyrinth of Echoes is a changing labyrinth that lies underneath the city, and in order for Cora to acquire the Heart Gem, a mythical jewel that is claimed to reveal one's real value, she would have to travel through it." Sam cautioned. "It's dangerous," he said. "This labyrinth is a living entity. It puts you to the test." Cora gave a sneer. "I tied the knot with a dwarf king. I have known danger for a very long time." The instant she entered the labyrinth, the walls began to moan and move in response to her presence. There were voices from her past that hovered about her, whispering, "You're embarrassing yourself, Cora." The words of her mother. "He is a weirdo. What a joke you are." Leela, a friend of hers from the past, her fists were tightly clenched. "I stopped listening to you years ago." Almost as if it were insulted, the labyrinth trembled. Then there was complete silence. In front of them, the heart gem shone as it floated in the air. When Cora grabbed for it, the earth in front of her collapsed. She was knocked down and landed in a room that was stuffed with riches. It was piled up, shining, and never ending. A slithering voice could be heard in the shadows. "Here it is. Get out of this location. Be wealthy. Enjoy your freedom." She laughed. "Cora, my prize has already been selected. He goes by the name Sam." A broken illusion was created. A warm pulsation emanated from the heart gem as it drifted into her hand. Cora emerged triumphant, and the dwarves rejoiced as she did so. Those who were skeptical lowered their heads as well. During the ceremony that marked her coronation, Sam proudly put the crown on her head, filling his eyes with joy. A scout, however, stormed into the hall just as the feast was about to begin. "Oh, my king." At the border, the deep ravens are congregating in large numbers. The room exploded in a state of fear. Despite Silver Peak's superior might, the deep ravens, a rival dwarven clan, were ruthless raiders who were kept at bay for a long time. As a result of Thrain's control, the kingdom had become weaker, and they viewed this as an opportunity to attack. Sam's jaw was clenched. "Get the forges ready. There will be a war." It was Cora who stood. No, all of the heads turned. "There are more people than you," she remarked. "But they don't know me," the grin that was slowly spreading over her face. "Let me try diplomacy first." Instead of wearing armor, Cora rode to the border by herself, dressed in the regal robes that are customary for queens. A massive dwarf by the name of Goric, who was the warlord of the Deep Ravens, scowled at her as she approached. "You send a human to negotiate?" He snarled at everyone. "I send a queen," Cora said in response. "One who knows what it's like to be underestimated." It was a sack that she threw at his feet. Within was the heart gem, which was both valuable and powerful. "A gift," she said, "or a transaction. I will take it, and then I will leave Silver Peak calmly. Or you might make an attempt to seize our kingdom, as well as discover the reason why people are said to be the most crafty animals in the dark." Goric exhibited some reluctance. After that, he picked up the diamond with a reluctance to laugh at himself. "You have some courage, human. To a great extent. We won't bother your mountain at all." Sam made his appearance at Cora's side just as he was leaving. "You gave them the heart gem?" "Oh, please," Cora smiled. "Thank you, indeed. It was a hoax. The genuine one is securely stored in our safe." The sound of Sam's laughter reverberated through the mountains as he flung his head back and laughed. After a number of years, Cora and Sam governed side by side, a steadfast and cherished pair. The humans who had previously made fun of them now asked for favors and trade alliances against them. When Cora's parents arrived, groveling and pleading for forgiveness, she gave a straightforward response. "A priceless lesson that you imparted to me was the ability to identify genuine value. I am grateful to you for that." Following that, she retreated. "Guards, show them the door. There was a kingdom of money, power, and a love that had defied the world, and it was sealed in when the gates of Silver Peak closed behind them." The end.